Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of the Digital Shop Talk Radio, episode 15 on May 15th, 2019. And today we got a great show for you. We had Matt Fowler come on last week, and if you caught the show last week, he was talking about best practices for digital inspections, but he said something that was just a gold nugget, a great takeaway, and we decided to do a show on it this week to talk about that. And that's, you can kind of step in it a little bit, especially when you're new to adopting the digital inspection program, if you pile on too much marketing. So today we've got great guests with us. We've got Roy Foster from Roy Foster's Automotive joining us, and we've got Sara Savio, who, if you're been around the digital community with AutoVitals for a while, everybody knows who Sara is. So we're really excited to have both of you on today, and we're going to talk about kind of the do's and don'ts of your digital marketing and matter of fact, how to use it as a throttle, like what Matt was saying last week, to not overdo it and kind of get your guys off their game, off your best practices, and kind of back to the old way where we're running around with our hair on fire. So love to introduce Roy real quick. If you could, Roy, say hi, introduce yourself, and welcome.
Hey, Tom, great to be with you guys today. Great topic. Excited to participate in this. Excited to learn from all of you folks as well. So should be a great thing for all.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And Sara, did you get are you good to go, or you got your mic? We're gonna have to imagine Sara in all of her beauty today because she's having some webcam difficulties, but she's a trooper and she's hanging in there. Welcome, Sara.
Thank you. Welcome.
Great. And so what we want to talk about, I guess, to kind of get it kicked off is, Roy, if you can give us we were looking at your metrics, and I mean, you guys are really got a solid game plan, it looks like, for not just your digital marketing, but probably your entire marketing. Can you kind of give us a background on what your strategy is, where you're focused, and how you are able to integrate some of that digital inspection technology into your marketing plan?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So our strategy is kind of threefold. So we've been doing radio advertising for a long time, and we found a local station. It's talk radio. I like talk radio because people are listening, right? It's not just background noise, but they're usually engaged listening to what's being delivered, and the demographic is good. So that's really important too. So I like that because I think top of the mind advertising is really good. We have to keep our name out there all the time.
Sure.
So I just keep hammering it. I've been fortunate enough to have a local, he's kind of a local celebrity in our market, has a really almost a cult following. So I do live spots with him. Every couple of weeks we'll do a live spot. We'll talk about what's going on, and we'll talk about what my market focus is at that time. And then the other parts of the strategy is digital. So on the digital, we do a Facebook message probably 4 or 5 times a week. It's not always a marketing message. Sometimes it's just something fun, something just keep people coming back. If you're always blasting marketing, they get tired of looking at that. But
yeah, and that's a great point, right? Because the socials aren't really for marketing, and people will just stop following you. But it's really, if you see it as it's a way to get your name out there and drive awareness. So then now I do have this kind of shaking in my steering wheel, boop, I go right to your Facebook page and connect to your shop.
Yeah, hopefully, right?
Yeah, that's
what we're shooting.
Plan. Hey, there's Sara.
Hi.
There she is. So the other obvious things, Twitter, Yelp, Google. I don't know if you guys, maybe it depends by market, but for me, Google's the king, right? So I'm interested in, Google reviews, driving people from Google to my website and into my business. I've found that by always adding new content to manage my business through Google. I get a lot of hits to my website. I just did one of the Napa sales drivers a couple months ago, and within 2 weeks, I had almost 5,000 hits on that thing.
Wow.
And so it's really effective, and it costs you nothing, right?
Yeah.
Go on there, spend a couple minutes, especially if you guys are Napa Auto Care Centers, the professional materials are right there. It's just a matter of like posting it in there. So super simple. Another thing is, like I said, Google reviews. If you attach those to your website, then it keeps fresh content always coming in, which helps your SEO and drives your Google or drives your website as well. So I've been carrying on too much, so I'll let you guys.
Yeah, sure. No, that's great. So what's your objective? So are you looking to attract new customers just to kind of keep a steady number of new customers always kind of coming in and into the database, and people move away, stop driving, whatever, and you're just looking to maintain? Are you looking to grow your database? Are you looking to maybe replace some customers, right? Maybe you're starting to get to the spot where you can target a specific demographic or type of driver that maybe comes in more often, follows your maintenance schedule more, spends more money, and then you kind of let some of those other ones wither on the vine and replace them with more active customers.
Yeah, all of the above, really, right? So people move, people die, some people just aren't loyal. They're gonna, try the next guy down the street, even if
Sure.
they've had a good experience. I think it's important. We're just trying to maintain our car count each week, and we're averaging probably 20 to 25 new customers a week, and we're not spending a ton. Most of my expense is just the radio stuff. But
so what would you say converts the best for you? Where's the bulk of those 25 finding you? Is it through those Google reviews?
I think that's probably the biggest. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that's the king, because people pull out their smartphone.
Yeah.
Automotive repair, whatever market it is, and you want to be the guy that's popping up in that, that top pick.
That's so important, right? Is you got to be getting those Google reviews. Sarah, when you were running marketing in your shop, I mean, how did you do that? What was the best way for you to get lots of solid Google reviews?
The best way is really the process in your shop. If you build a rapport with your customer, and in a digital world, people still buy from people. So by maintaining those contacts and relationships, making the follow-up calls, and really getting that customer, you're letting them know you want them to be a part of your shop and a return customer. And basically at that point, you're creating a loyalty, and then you ask for the review. When you're doing your follow-up, or your exit scheduling, you need to ask that customer for a review. Tell them that it would really mean a lot to you. And I would say more often than not, people are really willing to do that because they appreciate the service that they have received.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest mistake, right? Is just not asking for that review. 2 best practices: ask for the review and make it super easy for them to give it to you. And so were you using the thank you email? So we have automated thank you email as part of our CRM with AutoVitals. And are you taking advantage of that? Is it something that you rely on as the sole request, or is it a combination of, maybe even at drop off, right? Just kind of get them acclimated to the culture and what to expect?
Absolutely. Setting the expectations and explaining the digital shop and the digital process at drop off, and showing the customer how to engage. And not only identifying their current needs for maybe a breakdown type of scenario, but helping to identify their maintenance needs, and explaining to them these pictures that you've received as future attention items. When you get your reminder and you set your your next appointment, that reminder is going to give you pictures, so you can take a look at what the technician has said, and that's going to refresh their mind. And then if they've got picture in front of them, the likelihood that they're going to approve that recommendation when they receive it is a much higher likelihood.
Yeah, exactly. And Roy, are you doing the same? Are you kind of using the digital inspection assets, the pictures and videos in your follow-up with your customers?
Definitely. Yeah. And I think you nailed it. The big thing is just asking, and making it simple, explaining, hey, this is the process. This is what you're going to see. This is going to pop up on your phone. If you just do these simple steps, we would really appreciate the review. So it's really that simple. So we've been focused on our Google reviews for probably, more so for the since the beginning of the year, February, maybe even. But let's see, I've probably got about 60 or 70 this year already.
Wow.
So yeah. And that's awesome to me. I'm seeing them every day. Review. They're
And are you responding to those? Do you get on there and say thanks, or
Yeah.
if, on those couple of miss the marks, get in there and say, hey, let me take care of you?
We respond to all of them. A quick thank you,
Yep.
good or bad. And like I was explaining earlier, and if you attach that to your website, it just creates new data in your website all the time, and the Google bots see that, and that pushes you up. So
Fresh content.
all those little details make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's some great, and so AutoVitals does that, right? When we post up a review, we're going to say, hey, so-and-so was in for a brake repair on their Honda Civic, right? So we kind of throw in those keywords. But going back to Sarah's point, if you're building that relationship and you're saying, hey, if you could mention maybe the repair we did for you, or, and that's one of the things, honestly, in Yelp, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that they think, oh, I'm not paying, so they, ban your, or what do they call it? What do they call it when they put the Yelp ad down at the bottom? No.
In their algorithm, unsuggested review.
Right, and a lot of times it's because it's just not well written. It's not so much that you're not paying them; it's just that they didn't see. It's just kind of, I went here and I did this thing, and so a lot of times they'll hide those because they want the more descriptive ones. And it's funny because you go into Yelp sometimes and you read these things and it's almost like they're script writers, screenwriters, and it's just all, like you're almost in the restaurant with them tasting the bad fish. But in all honesty, those are more engaging reviews. And to Roy's point, if they see that you're in there saying thank you and engaging, people are much more likely to leave another review, to add to the review thread, because though it's almost like you earn it. You're in there saying hi to us, you're in there engaging with us, so I'm going to add to the conversation.
Yeah, and I think another important point that you made is, the customer says, you guys replaced my water pump, great job on my Honda Civic. And then you say, yeah, thank you for bringing your Honda Civic in to have the water pump replaced. You're inserting all sorts of keywords. So when those people are searching your site, Honda Civic, okay, it's going to drive them to your site. Water pump, it's going to drive them to your site. It's important to, just plug in those always be thinking about keywords, that you want to drive that particular business to your shop.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how you do it, right? That's the kind of part of the throttle, is that the more discussion that you have and content that gets put online about that specific topic. If you want more wheel alignments, you're talking about wheel alignments. If you want more Mercedes, you're talking about Mercedes. And your customers are talking about Mercedes. And when that happens, you start to rank. And there's couldn't be anything better for you than to have actual reviews starting to rank up there at the top with the website, with your home page. Because not only do you own more real estate up there and you push the competition down, but it solves those kind of the two things that we're looking for is, find the business and what are the neighbors saying, and it's all served to me right there in one easy place. And whoop, I click on and here I am. I'm in your funnel now. Right now, it's up for you to convert me. Sara, what would you say? You've spent time at several shops, and what would you say is one of the big pitfalls? What's a mistake that we want people to avoid, especially from a digital marketing perspective in their marketing strategy?
I think that the biggest mistakes that you make are undervaluing your services by, offering that $10, $15 oil change. You're really kind of attracting people that are only looking for something that's low cost. They say, great, okay, I can get the $10 oil change. That's generally going to be your later customers, so you're not necessarily going to have the time that you would to complete, a full inspection and to really spend, the education time with the customer, and somebody that's less likely, in my experience, to, that you want to be your customer that wants to maintain their vehicle. They're just looking for something cheap.
Yeah, and unfortunately, what happens a lot of times, and I don't know, Roy, have you ever noticed this, that it seems like the folks who come in with the coupons a lot of times, or they're not regular customers, are the ones who tend to leave worse reviews, right? It wasn't free enough.
Yeah, it never works out well, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? Cut your margin and get a 1-star, yay!
Yeah, none of that drives the right customer to your business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We definitely don't want the people that are, price shopping. We don't want to be the cheapest shop in town. We want to drive the good customers in, right? We want to find the people that, are, relating to our message about maintaining their car, professionalism, warranties, and the things we have to offer. That's the kind of thing we want to attract the customer with, not price.
Yeah, exactly. Because then, like you said, then, if it's kind of desperation, and then all of a sudden now you're trying to figure out how to get rid of them and get a different type of customer in. Hey, we got a question, Roy, for you from the audience, and what they're asking is, can you give some specific bullet points, actually for both of you, because I know Sara will have great input, specific bullet points on what you can cover or how to set expectations at drop off and at pickup with the customer concerning, your follow-up and reviews. Go ahead. Ladies first. Yeah, ladies first.
Okay, so as far as drop off, I kind of explain, for a new customer, what the digital process is. I drive the conversation around, what to expect. So once the technician has completed the inspection, we're going to edit those results, and I'm going to send you a copy of that. Take a look at it, and at that point in time, I'll be working on pricing and options. Once I have that prepared, you're going to get that next message saying, call Sara for pricing and options. And at that point, I'll be a wealth of information. And then when I'm going over the inspection with the technician, we've got the good, the bad, and hopefully no ugly. But those future attention items, when you're going through, you're building the value in the vehicle and telling them, these are things that we want to keep an eye on. These are things, that are going to require future attention. So start to build the bug at that point in time when you're going over the inspection. And then at the time of checkout, once again, you're thanking them for their trust, and you're scheduling that exit appointment using the CRM tab in AutoVitals. You can, set 30, 60, 90-day options for, sending reminders for different services, and let them know that they're going to receive that by email or text or both, whatever they've opted in for, and let them know, this is the maintenance schedule. And then as, when you follow that up, and setting your maintenance schedule, by the way, is really, really easy. You can do everything very, very vehicle specific. You can do just a shop specific. This is our 30, 60, 90K. And when you're using that with the CAN job scheduler, those services are going to show up on that reminder. So you kind of prep them at the end for what they're going to be seeing. Once again, they'll be seeing actual pictures of their video or in videos of their vehicle, and take a look, schedule the appointment. It's really easy. You click the button, and that's really how I handle the next appointment portion.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you really give them a good insight on what to expect. You know, you're going to get a text and it's going to have this information and actually how to go through and look at the videos and book the appointment. No, thank you. That's fantastic. How about you, Roy? Are you doing something similar? How do you set those expectations so you make sure that those folks are engaged, leaving those reviews and looking at your follow-ups?
Yeah, so Sarah really nailed it, but I'll just talk about our process for a second. Very similar. So customer comes in, say it's a new customer, service advisor will talk to them about our process. We're training this customer how we're going to do this. It's going to be a different experience than the normal shop because unfortunately a lot of guys just aren't getting the digital inspection and the value of it. So a lot of the customers aren't familiar with this. So it's really a great opportunity. So you explain the process. We like to have a good inspection queued up so the advisor can actually show them what the incoming text is going to look like. Click on the link and just kind of walk them through this. These are the things you're going to look for. When you see these pictures, click on them, open them up. And then there's educational materials, there's videos, there's all these things to help you to better understand, what it is our technician sees. So it starts with that. And then, then the follow-up phone call. Then the technician goes through the inspection again with the customer, kind of walks them through, explains everything that we're looking at, and answers any questions that they might have. So we know that, the sales happen through education. When the customer is confident that they understand that, that there is a need, they're going to buy. So through all that whole experience, they're engaged with the digital process. And then at the end, we just invite them, say, hey, you're going to get another message from us, and it's going to be a invitation to leave us a review. We would really appreciate a good review. We feel like we've done a great job for you. And most of the time we'll say, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And we're getting them almost every day. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like it's working well for you. We got another question from the audience. Oh, this is a great one. If you have spaces in your calendar that has holes to fill, what is the best go-to plan? Kind of a quick fix. How do you crank the throttle up to fill in the gaps?
Yeah, so you can use your campaign manager. You just come up with anything, right? Just on the fly. So just for an example, my guys, you can target customers that have outstanding recommendations. You can just say, hey, come in today, we'll give you 10% off on labor, whatever. It's amazing. You can keep those bays full. Those people will respond. I'd rather give up 10% on labor than have an empty bay. So
yeah,
it's really effective. My guys are really good at that. So yeah, it's a great tool.
Yeah, and Sarah, so you use Campaign Manager a lot. Can you go over some of, for the question from the audience, can you kind of go over some of the different filters, how you can take your database, slice it up, and target things that, and like Roy's point, to marry those to sales drivers so you have a very specific objective, and I think you get good conversions like that.
Sure. The nice thing with the Campaign Manager now is that you can brand it. You're getting your colors, your shop colors that are going to be in there. You can put your logo in just to kind of continue, putting your name and your product out there in front of them. But you can filter by vehicle type. You can filter by date of last visit. You can, there are just, once again, numerous filters to select the audience that you want to bring in. And that is, there are videos out there. If you don't know how to do that, your product advisors are amazing and always willing to help. But another thing that's also left out in this particular scenario quite frequently is going into the call campaigns. If you've got that extra time, once again, people buy from people. Some people don't always want to get necessarily just a text message, an email, whatever the case may be. But you can go into your call campaigns. You can look at your, your lost customers that are due within a week, a month. And so you can make that also personal call to them to try to get them into the shop as well.
Yeah, and calls usually convert the best, right? When you have that personal touch, it's just a lot of times we just don't have the time, or it's hard to build it into the process. And that's where really the digital shop allows you to incorporate that, because if you're using workflow and you're kind of cutting down on a lot of the busy stuff for the service writers, and then you just build a habit to say, matter of fact, you can remind them right through the TVP, hey, do your haven't seen you in a while call, and they hit a couple calls in as part of the process as they're going along, and they can get great results. Are you guys doing call campaigns from the front counter in your shop, Roy?
Not so much phone. Occasionally, select customers. Oh, you guys with me? There we go. Sorry, everything went dark for a second. Yeah, so probably not as good as we should be. But we're doing all the digital stuff, and we're really feeling like we're having a lot of success with it. We're up just under 20% for this year in gross sales, so it definitely works, guys. I mean, just use the tools you have, learn the business control panel, learn the campaign manager, and if you're an auto care center, use your sales drivers, use the marketing material they spend millions to develop. We've got so many tools, we just have to learn them and use them.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because, and really, I mean, that's kind of the trifecta, right? Is you've got a good reason, you've got a good message and a way to target your prospects, who you want in, and then you've got the business control panel to find out, is it really working? And you don't have to wait kind of till the end of the month or something to find out, oops, we should have did something. It gives you real-time data, and you can start to split test your message. You can put, you can test different things, especially, with the sales drivers and seasonality, seeing how, bring them in with the air conditioner or bring them in with the brakes or whatever it might be, and then upsell them from there. So, we had a really good point, and I wanted to kind of end on this was, what happens when it's going too good, right? Because to Matt's point from last week, when he was talking about, especially when you're first adopting the process and you want the techs to follow the right process, and then when they get overwhelmed, they tend to go back to the old way, right? Just out of habit. And he was talking about how you can almost derail your adoption by over marketing. Sounds like a great problem to have. How do you prevent that, Sara, in your business? How did you kind of work that throttle? I'm sure maybe through the campaign manager, but what are some good tips for folks listening that might want to have that level of control?
Hire more people. You don't want to turn anybody away. You want that problem. Scheduling. When you're developing the rapport with that customer, you're going to find that not everybody needs that service right now. So schedule it when it's convenient for the shop. Offer a shuttle, offer an Uber, offer a loaner car. Whatever you have to do to basically control the scheduling. Everybody wants to be a yes shop. And sometimes it's very difficult, when you're just building that car count to become the yes shop. But when you've built that rapport with your customer and you set the expectation, chances are they're going to be much more likely to work into your schedule.
Yeah. You got to follow for that, Roy? What happens? How are you able to kind of work that throttle, make sure we're not overdoing it?
Yeah, excellent points Sara made. Under promise and over deliver. She made great points. We use a lot of Lyft and Uber. We'll just get you there, just leave the car. Explaining our process. This isn't a quick lube. We're going to spend more time on your car. We're going to have certified technicians looking at your car. It's not going to be a quickie service. So just communicate and set that expectation that, hey, this might take a little while, but these guys are professional and I'm trusting them. And, we can get an enterprise rent-a-car right around the corner for $25.
Sure.
Yeah, if you got a good ARO, that's a pretty good investment too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take care of the customer. They love you and they keep coming back. Hey, you know, our shop is a home away from home for your car, right?
That's
It's
right.
hands, so don't worry and here, get to work.
Yeah, it's just not the breakdown's the problem, it's the inconvenience. So if you can just eliminate the inconvenience, you got a happy customer.
Yeah. So last follow-up question from the audience is, what's a good frequency for your special campaigns? You know, how often should you be putting them out there, and how often do you kind of change up the message? Sarah, I'll start with you.
Okay, so lost customer campaigns, which we hope that we don't have lost customers, but that does happen. I would suggest those go out twice a month. And you know, you're putting something, a small discount in there because they have been your customer. You're not giving away the oil change to try to bring them back in. And then, you know, seasonally, we don't want to over bombard the customer with, you know, information so that they're more likely to opt out of the text messages, opt out of your, you know, your emails and not see those messages when they do come in. So picking the seasons, you know, back to school, summer, you know, car care month, whatever the case may be, you know, I would suggest not more than once a month, but getting, you know, keeping something in front of them, but not too terribly frequent.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. How about you, Roy? What's your cadence? How often are you sending out special campaigns?
So we do the sales drivers quarterly.
Yeah, when they come out.
And then we keep those posted on Google and our website all the time. So if people are searching, they'll come across them, they'll see them, they'll find them. And then just the other campaigns, it kind of depends on the flow, you know. Like you said, if we need to throttle it up, then we'll do more. But usually quarterly, it seems to be working for us. I mean, we have just enough flow. You know. The thing that would drive me crazy is if I heard one of my advisors say, "Oh, we really can't take care of that for you." You know, I never want that to happen. So I don't know. It seems like we've got a really good balance going. So with the quarterly, the radio, the Facebook, all those little things. So
that's fantastic. So just keep growing those reviews, and then you can get picky.
Right.
Fantastic. Hey, you know, really appreciate it, guys. You know, we're out of time. Great questions from the audience. There's still a whole bunch more coming in, so we can go ahead and take that conversation onto our Facebook forum, and we'll be in there and following up with you. And so if we didn't get your question asked, you know, on the air, we'll be more than happy to address it directly in the forum and keep talking. You know, tomorrow we're going to have our webinar starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be talking about how to actually put some of these great ideas that we learned today into practice, how to get in there and build custom campaigns in the campaign manager, and use the brand manager to really customize your branding and look and feel, and get those messages open, because that's the key. Once you get the messages open, all the content blows them away, right? All the digital inspection, the great work that your techs do, man, you don't need to sell them. You just need to show them they're in the door. So that's the key. Tune in tomorrow for that webinar, and we'll roll up the sleeves and do the how-tos. Next Wednesday, same time, same place, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of Digital Shop Talk Radio. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome. Until then, thanks a lot, Roy. Thank you, Sarah, as always. Really appreciate you, and we'll talk to you next time.
Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys did a great job. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.